This is a Film Stories original podcast.
We made this.
Welcome to the X-Cast. I'm your host, Blair, and the truth is in here. We've got a very special guest with us today. I'd like to introduce Mr. Brendan Beiser, Agent Pendrell's. Hi, Brendan. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, we're all huge fans of the X-Files here, and we have our special X-Cast X-Files basement group on Facebook, and whenever we mentioned that you were going to be coming on the show, I just got, we like to ask, if anybody has questions for our special guest or anything like that, and everybody's like, I don't know, I'm just so excited. It's we got so many responses, Pendrell, everybody was just saying, Pendrell, we're so excited to have Agent Pendrell on. So, nice. I know you're Brendan Beiser, you are not actually Agent Pendrell, but you play him on TV. So
that's right.
We're all big fans over here at the X-Cast of Agent Pendrell and you. So,
well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we do have a couple of fan questions that we will definitely get to. But first I would like to talk to you just a little bit about your background and how you originally got into acting and that kind of thing. Would you?
Sure. I took performance in high school, and I really, really liked it. And then I decided after high school that I wasn't quite ready to go to university because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I took a year off, and I went traveling around the world. And I ended up in Southeast Asia. And I ended up specifically, after traveling around for a few months, on a beach in the south of Thailand, on an island called Koh Phangan. And I was sitting on the beach one day, and I thought, what do I want to do? And I was like, I want to be an actor. That's just what I want to do. And literally 2-3 weeks later, I was on an airplane and headed back to Vancouver. And I went to the University of Western Ontario, which didn't really have an arts program. So I transferred to Concordia University and got into their theater performance program and studied that for, I guess it was 3 or 4 years. And then moved back to Vancouver. And that's sort of my path to how I became an actor, and how I chose to become an actor.
That's amazing. So you were just sitting on a beach and you're
literally.
I really want to be an actor.
I was just kind of, I don't think I thought I was meditating, but I was probably meditating. And I just thought, what do I want to do? Because I can't do this forever. I didn't think I could. I really liked it, but I thought I want to do something. And I just was like, I want to be an actor. That's what I want to do. So, that's literally how it happened.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So how did I read on IMDb that you were studying under William B. Davis and Mark Bauer at the Center for Actor Study in Vancouver.
Yeah, I took a class there, I guess, when I went back to Vancouver. I wasn't on the X-Files or anything like that at that point. And I'm not sure, I don't think I'd met Bill or knew who he was even at that point either. But I took a class with Mark Bauer, and I remember one of my best friends, actually, he did a scene from, ironically, an episode of The X-Files where he was playing Mulder. I can't remember the scene, I just remember that moment, and I thought, looking back on it, I thought, well, that's ironic.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how did you end up, were you a fan of The X-Files in the first 2 seasons before you came to the show? Were you aware of it at that point?
I certainly was aware of it. I spend most of my TV watching time watching sports. That's what I do. But I obviously knew of the X-Files, and I knew, what it was. I mean, it was the show that, people wanted to be on because it was such a big show. But I didn't really follow it per se.
Okay.
But obviously I knew who, Mulder and Scully were and that kind of thing. But I can't say I watched the show on a regular basis. I started to, once I was on it, but I hadn't really up to that point.
Yeah. So do you remember the first episode you ever saw? Was it one of yours?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So how did it come about that you were actually cast on the show?
I think I'd read for the show probably 3 or 4 times, and hadn't been cast, fortunately, actually. And then I was brought in, and, what I later found out was Pendrell was originally played by a character by the name of Agent Comox, who was a friend of mine named Paul McGillian. And Paul was away doing theater in northern I think in Prince George, so a little northern BC. And so he couldn't actually come back to shoot. He was supposed to shoot another episode, and he didn't know he was to be recurring at that point. So they had to recast his part. So all of a sudden, the role of Pendrell came up. And so I went in and read for it, and I just thought, I was like, okay, what am I gonna, I'm going to do absolutely nothing. Like, I'm literally going to do nothing. I'm just going to say the words. That's all I'm going to do. And that's literally what I did. And and all of a sudden, I was cast. And then later I became friends with Paul, and then he was like, I was originally that part. And I was like, I'm so glad you were out of town.
Sorry, not sorry, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm pretty sure I bought him a beer or something like that. And but he went on to go and do Stargate, so he was fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how that came to be.
That's amazing. So, let's see. Did you, you said you continued to watch the show after you were cast. Did you have maybe a favorite season, favorite episode that you liked? You're totally free to say the one that you were in, if that's,
Yeah, I mean, I definitely paid attention to the ones that I was in for sure. I won't lie. Maybe I should.
No, that's fine. That's what I would do.
I think there was an episode called Home. And that was sort of a creepy one where there was a guy living under the bed or something like that.
Yeah,
yeah. That one.
Karen Carnival, yeah, we love her on the show. She's been a guest on our show. She's awesome.
Yeah, and I actually ended up doing a commercial with her later on down the road.
So cool.
Yeah, and so that one, that's the one that sticks out
it's a
for me.
Famous one. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It was just so weird.
Do you have any fun behind the scenes tales that you remember, or I know it was a while ago, but anything that sticks out in your mind?
Oh, sure. Here's a good story. So on the day that I was shot, first of all, there were many drafts written about that episode. There was one draft where Pendrell survived. They come, Mulder and Scully came and visited him in the hospital, and he was going to live. There was another one where there was
that version.
Yeah, so did I. And then there was another draft that apparently there was a massive funeral for him at the end of that particular episode. That didn't happen. But on the day that I was shot, so I get shot and go to the ground and fine, and they get everything they need to get, or so we think. And they say, okay, great, that's a wrap, and that's a wrap on Brendan, and we say our goodbyes and say goodbye to the crew and all that kind of thing. And then I go into a slight depression. That's when I started drinking heavily.
I think we all did after we saw that episode.
Right. I don't know if Scotch helped you like it helped me, but
well, I was only 16 at the time, so not quite. But
okay, good.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I got a call though about 3 weeks later, where they said, "Listen, can you can you come back for an insert shot for one day? And I don't know if do you know what an insert shot is? Most people know what that is.
But you can tell for listeners who might not know.
Yeah, so like for instance, if somebody hands somebody a business card, what they'll do is, so you'll see that transaction take place, but then they'll just do like an insert shot, say of the two hands, one handing the other hand the business card, or they might show an insert shot of the business card. So just the business card will take up the whole frame, for instance, for one of the shots. So they called because they said they needed an insert shot. And I was like, all right, what's the insert shot for? And apparently, why they needed me back, and me specifically back, was because when I got shot, I guess she rips open my shirt, and then there was a shot of an insert shot where they needed to see, the chest with the bullet hole and like that kind of that shot. And it would have been, much cheaper for them to they tried to get like a background performer or an extra. And what they'd done was they had one of them, had their shirt open, and then they had hair, because turns out I have a hairy chest, which I do. And then they had found, they'd gotten hair off of a wig or something like that, and pasted it on this other person's chest, but it didn't match, because my hair is slightly red, and there's apparently a lot of it. So they couldn't actually match the chest hair that they needed without actually having the real person's chest hair, meaning me. So they asked me to come back in for literally an insert of my chest.
With like the blood and all that on it?
With the blood, they put all that on it, yeah. Oh, and but they needed my hairy chest because they couldn't mock up enough hair to actually match my chest.
And the right color,
quite
all
fun.
that. Had
the right color,
ginger,
all of that. That's right. That's
oh
right.
My goodness.
So that was one of the better.
So that was your last shot.
That was my last. Well, that was 3 weeks after the fact. I was already dead.
Oh my goodness!
And they're like, "Listen, we need you for one more day."
Oh.
And actually, here's a little fact. Mulder, Duchovny, I don't know when he told me this. It must have been at a rap party or something like that. But that day that we shot that scene, the day that I got shot, was he went on his first date with Téa Leoni that night.
Wow.
So there we go. Yeah.
That's juicy information. Thank
there
you,
go.
sir.
And he told me that, so I'm not making that up.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think I cried for quite a while when I found out that they were married. But, that's what happens when you're 16 and...
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Well, he's not anymore, I don't think.
No, I think that, but now I am, so.
Oh, but now you are. So now he's probably crying now.
Yeah. I think he's got some other company to keep, but that's fine.
He may.
How did you actually... So you kind of talked a little bit about your audition and all that.
Yeah.
What exactly was Pendrell's job at the FBI? Was he kind of a little bit of an everything man, or just general scientist? Like, what was his actual job? Did he have a specific description?
I still don't know. Who knows? I'm not even sure what his first name is.
I think it's Shaun.
Shaun, yes.
But I don't think they ever said that on the show.
They never did. That's true. No, I think he was sort of, what the lone gunmen were to Mulder. Mm-hmm. Pendrell was, I think, to a lesser extent to Scully.
Yeah.
And I think he also represented a little bit of the fan base that may have had a crush on her, because he had a crush on her too.
Was that in the script from the beginning?
No, it wasn't. No.
How did that come about? Is there any
that was just me actually having a crush on her.
Who wouldn't? We all have a crush on Scully. Yeah.
And I remember them actually saying there was something about because she gave, and maybe you can tell me this actually. Did she give birth to Piper somewhere during that season? Is that right? During season 4 or 5, somewhere in there?
It was season 2, yeah.
She gave birth to season 2, okay. Because there was something about when she rolls up her sleeve in one of our scenes to show that she's been inoculated or something like that. I can't really remember.
From the smallpox vaccination.
Yeah, that's right. Apparently that was also some kind of a big deal because she hadn't shown that much skin in a while or something like that.
Wow. Yeah.
Something like that. I seem to have a vague memory of that. Or maybe I hadn't shown as much skin in a while. I can't. I always get her and I confused.
I think that was right before. I think that was right before Pendrell calls himself a doof, which he is
exactly
absolutely not. We all love Pendrell. He's not a
That's
doof.
right. That was that episode.
Yeah.
Quite true.
Yeah. So, were you ever really into science and technology like Pendrell was?
I never really was, but I certainly still remember some of my lines because I just had such a hard time with what I was saying. Like in an episode with Mulder, actually, where he comes to the lab, she's supposed to come, and I'm like, "Where is she?" And he's like, "She's on a date." And I'm like, "Oh," and she's like, "Relax, it's with a dead guy."
Yes.
Anyway, I remember this particular. I said something like, I had to go online with a botanist at UVM to determine what it was. Adenia vulcansi. Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I don't know what that means, but I've got to know, like, I know what I'm talking about.
Well,
so I still remember that.
You delivered it quite well, because I actually watched that episode this morning.
Oh, did you?
Yes. And I was like, I wonder how he actually got around that word, because that's a big word, and you said it with such fluency that it was completely 100% believable.
I was so scared of screwing it up.
Yeah.
That
I would have been too. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that's why it's probably still drilled in there into my head. So no, I wasn't. I can't say I was a huge fan of science, but certainly got to know it. Well, the character had to know it, so I had to. Yeah. I had to know it to a certain extent, or at least I had to have you think that I knew it.
Yes. Well, it definitely, you pulled it off.
Good.
What was it like working with Gillian Anderson? Like you said, you had a little bit of a crush on her. I could kind of tell when I watched Pendrell that a lot of that seems really genuine.
Yeah.
So was it?
It was. I mean, I think and thought that she is amazing. You know, it dawned on me not so long ago that she's not that much older than I am, and you know, this was her first huge. I mean, this was huge for her. He'd already done some stuff, and he was already on his way. I think he was in California. That feature by that point. So, but this was huge for her. But being around her, I mean, she had such poise and confidence, and was so cool. Like, she was so friendly, and so genuine. And I would often and I was young too. You know, I hadn't been on something like this before, and I didn't really have much experience to that point. And so I often found, you know, I remember we were shooting something, and we were both wearing hazmat suits. I don't remember which episode that was, but I literally was sitting beside her. You know, chairs were side by side as we were waiting for them to set up the scene or something. And I desperately wanted to say something to her, and I was completely tongue-tied. Like, I just didn't feel like anything that I could say would sound anything like worth interesting or, you know, listening to. So I just kind of sat there in silence. But I thought, and still think, like, she's an incredible performer, and I would feel a lot more comfortable around her now. But I can't say I was totally in my skin when I was around her, and for that matter, you know, him too, because these guys were the stars of the show,
right?
I mean, they were the big deal.
I mean, you were on the show like 3rd and 4th season, so that was pretty much right. It hit like the height of the, you know, it's like big time. So that was pretty amazing that you got in on those episodes. Yeah, no, it was great. I'll tell you what was fun would be, because the show would air, I think it was Friday nights at 9. Mm-hmm. And I was working at a restaurant at the time, and I would always work the brunch shift on Saturday. So it was great because people would, you know, see this show, and then they'd come in, and then they'd like do a double take, and they'd go, "Wait a minute, are you?" And I'd be like, "Yep, I am. How do you like your eggs?" And I loved that. I loved that, though. I loved the, you know, it just keeps it real. Like, I really, really loved that part of it. Absolutely. So you got to work with, you know, Kim Manners, Rob Bowman, David Nutter. Yeah. Was there anything that they taught you that you took with you in future roles, or?
Well, David Nutter, I think, was the one who cast me originally. Mm-hmm. And Kim Manners, that guy, I mean, man, that guy worked hard. He worked so hard. And Rob Bowman, I mean, they all had different styles, and but I think one of the things that I would take away from all of them would be the confidence that they had, not, in themselves, and not that, I'm not talking in terms of an ego sense, but just that they knew what they were doing, and that anytime I was on there and working with them, like, they had my back, like they were taking care of me too, which was great. Like, I never felt like I was on my own. I mean, the crew was amazing. It was very much a family-like atmosphere. It was amazing to go and be in that space. So what I took from that going forward, I would say, was a certain degree of confidence. Like, that I don't think I'm any different than anyone else, or maybe you don't do this, but there are times when I just doubt what I'm doing, never mind on set, but just in life, I'm like, what am I doing? I'm just like such a failure.
Imposter syndrome is real.
Yeah.
We all get it, yeah.
Yeah, but, without saying it, I feel like they all probably said at some point, like, you know what you're doing, like, and you've got the part, like, the part is yours, so you don't have to, work so hard or you don't have to worry about earning it, like, it's yours. And then they killed me.
And then they killed you. That was one of our fan questions, actually. Andrew Blaker wanted to know, how were you told that you would be killed off?
Andrea told me, actually.
Yeah?
Which was weird. Andrea Blaker. No, I don't know how she knew to get a hold of me, but she sent me a fax and said, "You're dead, Andrea." And I was like, "Wow, who are you?" My agent called and said, "You're in the next episode, and the but, like I told you before, they weren't sure how it ended, and then like I said, there were different incarnations of what happened to the character, but I found out from my agent, and yeah."
I always thought it was kind of lousy on this show because it kind of ends on a cliffhanger. You don't know. You assume, and Scully's like, he will not die. And you're like, no, he's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. And then you wait a whole week, and then you're like, what happened to Pendrell? And then, Pendrell died. You're like, wait, what? No, there's just nothing. And, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah. So I still don't know. I mean, who knows? I could still come back.
Well, you know what Chris Carter says. Nobody ever really dies on the X-Files, so I think you still have a chance. It's a solid chance.
That's right. And and he may or may not have said something similar to me. So who knows? Who knows what he's got in mind? I'm still here. I'm still waiting. 25 years after the fact. So.
Yes. So on that note, also another listener would like to know, Matt Latham wants to know, if Pendrell wasn't killed, how would you have liked to have seen him develop in future seasons?
I would have liked to have seen him, let's see, how would I have liked to see him in future seasons? I would have liked to have seen him marry the smoking man. I think that would have been a unique combination of... I would have liked to...
Replaced Reyes in season 11.
Sure. How would I have liked to have seen him? Yeah, I think it would have been a spinoff. The Pendrell Files. That'd be nice.
I would have liked to see a Pendrell Chuck Burke spinoff. Pendrell and Burke's at it.
Sure.
In the basement.
I like the way you think. I like the way you think. No, I would have liked to have. It would have been great to see him. Like in that last episode, he was out in the bar and he was a little tipsy, and so you got a little insight into that he did have a life outside of his lab. I think it would have been fun to further explore that, and I think it would have been great if at one time or another he actually got up the courage, and that would have had to have been built up over 3 or 4 seasons, let's say. But to ask Scully out in his awkward way, and for her to. Just to see what she would say. She probably would say no. But if she just said, what the hell, yes, and then they went out on this completely awkward date, I think it would have been hilarious.
I would have loved to see that. I'm sure there's fan fiction about that. There's got to be out there.
Probably
there's
right.
Fan fiction about everything.
You're probably right. Yeah. Probably right. But that would have been fun.
It would. Pendrell and Scully, Uber babies, all the little redheaded kids running around.
Sure.
You can't go wrong with that, right?
Yeah. I don't think so.
So another listener, Pamela Stafford, asked, what did Gillian Anderson think of Pendrell having a crush on Scully? Do you know? If you know the answer.
Pamela Stafford, I can only think she loved it, but I really have no idea.
Yeah.
I truly have no idea. I don't, I have no clue what she thought of it. Yeah. Really, I don't. I wish I could give you a better answer than that, but the next time I see her, I'll ask her.
Yeah.
and who knows when that will be.
Exactly. Maybe, you never know. Maybe
That's
at a
right.
convention. We need to get you at some cons. That would be great.
That'd be great, too.
Yeah.
That'd be great, too.
That would be a lot of fun. So, I mean, Pendrell went out with a bang, literally.
Yes.
Poor Pendrell.
Poor Pendrell.
I think the only death on the X-Files that could even possibly remotely compete with how tragic Pendrell's death was Queequeg, who got eaten by the alligator. But
darn alligators.
You know.
Yeah. Painful.
Yeah. So
but in good company.
He died saving Scully.
He did.
It doesn't get more heroic than that. To die for
That's
love,
true.
What could be more glorious?
There we go. Well, what could be more glorious is to live for it.
Yeah.
To take a bullet for it and live.
Yes.
That guest star, the guy that it was Tom O'Brien was his name, or is his name. The bullet was intended for him. Anyway, I ended up taking the bullet, but he and I ended up becoming friends.
Well, that's nice. That's good.
Yeah.
So what was it? I mean, was it like a long process getting all that set up and the squib and like all that?
Yeah, the prosthetic and all that. Yeah, I'm sure there was some kind of. I don't remember, but I'm sure I was. I don't know. I was probably called in to do some kind of body something rather for the like for the prosthetic for the bullet hole and the squibbing. Yeah, I don't think I had ever had I'd been squibbed before that, so that was cool. They set it up. It's kind of like. Have you ever been squibbed before? That sensation?
I have not had the opportunity for that, but it's a goal in life.
It's pretty wild. Yeah. It's kind of like, lack of a better description, like a couple of muted firecrackers going off on your chest. They don't quite have that impact, but that's it's like a pop. And I'd never had it happen before, and the way that they were talking about it, and they take safety very seriously. And they're like, if there's ever a concern, and you see these wires literally running from your chest or wherever it is, like they're controlling it off camera. And so I didn't know what to expect because there was no rehearsal. There was like, because they only have so many shirts they can blow open basically. Mm-hmm. And so it was pretty wild. So I remember when they rolled, they called action and whatever we're leading up to it. I did not know what the impact was going to feel like. I didn't know, they definitely, they had made me a little concerned about, what could happen. It rarely does happen, but, I thought, I just didn't know what was going to happen. And so when they actually did go off, like there actually is an impact. And I think I did fall back. It really made it much easier to, it required not so much acting because it really does knock you back a little bit. And it feels weird. Feels really weird.
Did they put something for you to fall on, obviously?
I'm pretty sure I had, I'm sure there was a crash mat on the floor, and I'm sure it was probably padded. There was probably a spine, like a spinal pad, I'm sure, and elbow pads. I probably had all of that on, I'm sure.
Yeah. Wow.
If it were up to me, I probably would have had a helmet on too, but it probably wouldn't work. But yeah. No,
a bulletproof vest, maybe.
A bulletproof vest would have been great. That's where, dodge the bullet and fire back. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm sure that I was well looked after that way. Yeah.
Poor Pendrell. Well,
for sure.
Unfortunately, he did not make it. But
I did not make it.
You went on to other things in your life. You survived the experience. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you've had quite a career since then, doing other films, theater, television. All that. Yeah. Still going there. Yeah. Either everybody else is working, so they have no choice but to use me.
I'm still, it's been good. I actually moved from Vancouver to Toronto about 7 years ago, and started doing stuff around here. And it's been okay. I'm actually on a show. I don't even know. You have to sign non-disclosure agreements now.
Well, we don't want to get you in trouble if you're not allowed to say. But.
I don't know what I'm allowed to say or not allowed to say, but I'm currently I have doing something on a new show that Amazon is doing.
Oh, that's fun.
And it's meant to be. They're pumping a lot of resources into this show. I'm not one of the leads or anything like that, but they are certainly they're high on this show apparently.
That's really cool. Another one of the shows I like is Rain. I saw you with Megan.
Oh,
yeah?
Yeah.
Like, how was it? I mean, these two redheaded goddesses that you've been privileged to work with. How was that working with her?
She, again, she's been doing it for so long. Yeah. She is such a pro. It's amazing to watch people like that and their experience. Elizabeth Shue, she's on this show that I was just working on, so I'm sure if you look it up you can find out what it is. But again, I just watched her work the other day, and man, like her and like Megan, like people like that, like they're so comfortable with what they're doing. It's so natural, and they're so and to work opposite that or off of that is it just makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
But Megan is such a she's an icon.
Yeah.
She's a total icon. I mean, anytime you're working, it's great. Yeah. That's how I feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then to work with people like that is just makes it even better.
Awesome. So you've got your secret Amazon project coming up. So
Amazon.
We'll keep an eye out for that.
Yeah. Okay.
Is there anything else that you've done recently that you can talk about, or
you mean work stuff that I've done recently? Yeah.
Or anything, like, charities or, like, whatever, anything you want to talk about.
Sure. Well, let's see. I went to New Orleans for the first time recently.
Oh, awesome.
Have you ever been there before?
I've been there one time, and I loved it. I went on a writing conference. It was so amazing. Yeah,
what an amazing, spirited city that place is. I really wanted to go to a football game. But they weren't playing, because I hear that's just apparently they don't stop dancing. It just sounds like a lot of fun. I was in Atlanta also not so long ago, a couple months ago.
We just got a new football stadium here, so
you did a pretty cool one too. I don't know if the Falcons won today or not.
I honestly was.
You don't know?
Yeah.
You could care less.
Well, I mean, my husband used to work for the team, so I care a little bit, but I don't care quite as much as when he was getting bonuses when they won. I'll just be honest about that.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, traveling around, and I've been, what did I work on a little while ago? Just trying to think. Oh, I did, that's already come and gone, but if you blinked your eye, I was in Downsizing, which was the Matt Damon vehicle that came out, I guess it came out about a year ago now or so. And I don't know if you saw that film or not.
I started watching it, and I was going to watch it, but my kids were ready for bed, and so I had to go tend to them. But I didn't get to see the whole thing.
I think that was a lot of people's experience. But he was interesting to... we didn't work together, but he was basically... I'm in this scene in this living room, and he's around the corner in the kitchen doing what he's doing, but he walked past me, and I didn't even recognize him. I had no idea who... I mean, he didn't register, because he was so well made up.
Wow.
And I guess prosthetic size that I just did not at all. It was pretty cool. That was a little while ago. I've been doing some voice stuff and some, I do that, radio commercials and that kind of thing. I don't think anything you get down there. It's primarily Canadian stuff up here. I've started, here's something. This is a really great project that we've started. We've been doing for about a year now. It's called In Conversation With. And I host a show in which we bring people from the entertainment industry on, whether they be, could be a casting director, could be directors, we've got showrunners, we've got writers, producers, and it's basically a live talk show.
Oh,
and,
wow.
And I interview them, and it's great. And we're having a really, really fun time doing that. And we're filming them. We haven't posted them anywhere or anything like that yet. But that is a very serious hobby and thing that I love to do.
Is that going to be on
It's in Toronto.
YouTube, or is it? Oh, it's in Toronto.
Well, I'm not sure what we're going to... Basically, what we want to do is package it once we have enough of them done together, and then pitch it, because we don't have... in Canada, anyway, we don't have a late-night television talk show right now.
Well, that's cool.
So that's something that we want to do with this. But yeah, so
awesome.
You can look out for that. That's
I hope
coming.
That works out. That'd be great.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's really, really fun. So you could come on that show. So, I could interview you.
I'm a writer, so
perfect.
There you go.
Perfect.
That'd be great. Let's do it.
You'd be well suited for it.
I love Toronto. It's a great
Good.
city.
Come on up, and your money's worth more up here. So especially
for now.
That's right. For now.
So one last question I have for you. We do a little segment called "Do You Believe?" on our show. So, Mr. Brendan, do you believe in the existence of extraterrestrials or the paranormal, for that matter? You do.
Well, because I am an extraterrestrial. No, I do. I can't imagine that we're the only beings out here in this universe. So I can't see why anyone else or some other form of energy or whatever it might be, I just can't see how it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Out there. Just what that looks like, I don't know.
It could be anything.
Could be anything. Could be you, Sarah.
You never know. This is why we had technical difficulties. It's just
right.
My powerful alien energy.
That's right. This is being broadcast to the mothership, isn't it?
It is.
But yes, I do. I do think there is life out there. Yeah. You bet.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we really appreciate your time coming to chat with us. You've been absolutely wonderful and delightful. And just as your
good, I'm going to tell my mother
on the X-Files, Mr. Pendrell, Agent Pendrell, bless him.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. And I appreciate people taking the time to, ask questions and listen. And so, thank you. It means a lot. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
It's our pleasure. So where can we find you online? Are you online anywhere that you'd like to share, or?
I don't do a lot of social media stuff, which I'm told I really should. But I'm on Facebook. That's a place to find me. I don't spend a lot of time on there, but it's definitely a good place to find me.
Yeah.
You can get me there. I don't handle the social media for the show that the In Conversation with, but I think the handle is In Conversation with Brendan Beiser is our Twitter thing, I think. And there will be a website coming. All that is coming.
Awesome.
And those are really the best places to find me.
Great.
For sure.
You should stop in the basement on Facebook sometime. Say hi to everybody.
Could you send me the link to that or whatever?
100%.
I would love to do that.
Yeah.
I would love to do that. That's so great.
Everybody would freak out. They'd be excited. Yeah.
Is Carson Maynard in that group?
I don't know. He might be. I don't think he's one of the active people. If he is, I can check.
Okay.
I'll have to let you know. We have 630 members, so it's
wow.
possible.
Wow.
It's possible.
It's really great.
Yeah.
It's amazing. 630. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Amazing. Okay, good. Well, soon you're going to have 631.
Awesome.
So cool.
We'll look for you.
Good. I'll be there.
Well, yes. Again, sir, thank you so much for stopping in. And as always, X-Files, until next time, trust no one.
Trust no one.
The X-Cast, an X-Files podcast, is produced and presented by Tony Black, alongside a dedicated group of podcasters and X-Files fans. You can find us on Twitter at The X-Cast, and on Facebook if you type in The X-Cast, or at our group, X-Files Basement, an X-Cast podcast fan group, where you can continue the discussion about all things Mulder and Scully. If you want to support the X-Cast further, you can now subscribe and become a patron of the show on Patreon. On Google, just type patreon.com/The X-Cast. That's Patreon. You'll see all of our tiers, subscription options and perks, which include early access to episodes, bonus content such as commentaries on X-Files episodes, access to a patron chat zone, and even appearing on one of our patron roundtable discussions. We would appreciate any support you can give the show, so just go to patreon.com/thexcast to find out more. Our title music is provided courtesy of Will A, who you can find on Twitter at IamWillAYE.